So in our yesterday session, we covered about CKF, which is calculated key figure, where we apply some formulas on the key figure column. So today in today's session, we are going to cover about RKF. So what is RKF means? RKF means restricted key figure. Okay. So anywhere did we written that one? Here. Yep. Okay. So what is RKF means? RKF, which is nothing but restricted key figure. Okay, so what is this restricted key figure? Why we, in which scenarios we are going to use this restricted key figure? We are going to learn today. Okay, so now for example, to understand this concept, we need one example, right? So in our system currently we have an ADSO. So I will go to my BW system. So in my BW system, under my info area, I have a composite provider. So which composite provider I am using currently? So I have a composite provider called SR_P sales EX. Okay, I'm searching SR_P sales EX. Because my system is a 7.5 system, okay, on HANA database, I have this in this RS7 screen, I have info provider tab. But if you go to BW4 HANA system, then you cannot search your ADSOs from the SAP GUI. Okay, you don't find it. So all the ADSOs to be opened from HANA Studio only. Okay, so now I'm going to my GUI. I'm right clicking on my composite provider, display data, field selection for output, select all characteristics, execute. Now I have a composite provider. In this composite provider, I have my sales information, so which contains document number, item, and calendar date. Where is my date field? This date field, and calendar month. And if we see here under my calendar month, I have data from 2022 Jan, Feb, March, April, May. Yeah, until 7th month I have data here. Okay, on cal month. And if I have another field called company code, so I have multiple company codes information here, T001, U001, and some other. And then I have quantity field and amount field. So this is my base data. So now on this particular data set, I created a query. On the rows I am showing calendar month and material, and on the key field column section I am showing quantity and amount. Okay, now I am going to execute this particular query on my analysis for office. Then I will come to the example what we are going to discuss today. Okay, I'm opening a new Excel sheet. So I'm going to analysis tab, insert data source, select data source. I'm logging into my system. Oops, so sorry. Select data source, skip. I'm selecting my BW system, providing my password. Select query operator button, provide your query name, click on search button, double click. Yep. You see now my cursor, when I am executing this particular query, my cursor is on I column under row 3. Because here I kept my cursor, my report output starts from this column. Okay, that is the thing. But when you are working on analysis for office, you must make sure if you want to show your report from starting of your A1 column, before executing your query, you must keep your cursor here. Wherever you keep your cursor, from there your output starts. Now I am executing this query, right? So I have a selection field here which is on calendar year or month with optional field. It is not a mandatory. So what I can do, without any selection also, I can click on execute button. What happens? All the data from the composite provider will come into my output now. If you see here now, since why this report came from I3, because before executing my cursor is here. Okay, now how can I move it? There is no other option. Just if you don't need these columns, delete these columns, then it will be moved automatically to right hand side. and these two also if you don't need, just delete the rows, it will move up. So on the quantity section, you see I have my this one particular PC unit on the top. Why it is on the top? Why it is not on the left hand side? Because all the quantities which are showing on my report are on PC only. Every quantity here it is showing is with unit PC only. If all the values are of same unit, then system will move the unit to the top side. For example, if this is pieces, if this is a kilogram, something like that, then it will come next to the number. So to show it on the amount side, you see here it is dollar, here it is euro. That's why the top column, it doesn't show any of the currency. It will show next to the number. Why? Because in this particular column we have multiple currencies are there. If it is single currency, then this dollar also will come on the top only. Okay, and here why we have star? Because for this particular selection there are two currencies are there, because data always aggregates. Remember, these are also important points here. When you execute the report, data will be aggregated with respect to the characteristic combination. So what are my characteristics are there in my report? Currently month and material, the only two characteristics are there in my report. So data will try to aggregate to this combination only. So when system is trying to aggregate with the month and this material, so for this combination there are two different currencies are there. So system cannot add two different currencies into single value. For that reason system, okay, I cannot add, so it is showing star here. For example, if I bring currency characteristic into my rows, then what will happen? Let's see. I am bringing currency into my rows section. So now what is happening? You see, whenever I bring currency into my row section, now star is gone and you have values properly showing. Why? Because now this particular row contains only euro currency, so system can show the number. Now this particular row also is containing dollars, so system can show this one. If I remove this currency from my report output, then system is trying to add this euro and dollar together and trying to show here. Since it is not possible to add euro and dollar at a time, so system is showing star. So when you see some stars, what you need to understand, okay, there are some multiple units or currencies are coming into this particular cell. That's why system is showing star. You must understand how system is behaving. Okay, so I hope it is clear. And next thing, so now coming to our concept, now we are going to learn the RKF, which is the restricted key figure. So now the requirement for the user is, here user is trying to see data for which month? January month, February month on the row section. Okay, but as I said, in my backend data, in my backend I have multiple company codes are there. You see D001, U001, and then P001 and I001. 4 different company codes are there. So how can I get to know which are all the unique company codes here? For example, for our data set is very small, so if I scroll a little bit like this now, I can tell, okay, these are the unique company codes. But if you have more records, then is it possible for you to understand which are unique coming here? So there is a way. Just select your column, go to filter section, and then press F4 here. F4 are this particular button icon. If you click here, you see now whatever you are getting, these are the unique company codes in your data set. Now whatever data set you are seeing here, in this data set only these 4 company codes are present. In this way, even though you have around 1 million records here, and if you want to identify the unique combinations, unique values, simply select the column, go to filter, and this F4 help, you can tell easily what are the unique different ones. If it is single, it will come single, it will show all the list. So now I have 4 different company codes are there. Now coming back to my report, now user want to see on this particular column, or else a user want to see each company code amount respectively on each column. That means, for example, user want to see initially D001 company code amount on one column, and then I001 company code amount on another column, and then U001 company code amount on another column, and then other one which is nothing but P. So if user wants to see amounts parallelly, instead of now currently everything is aggregating and coming this value, but if he wants to see amount at each column level to compare the values between one and another, then generally this can be satisfied by bringing company code into rows. If he bring company code into rows, simply he can tell where is my company code. I will do company code into row section. Then this requirement will satisfied. You see, U01 this much, this much, this much, this much. But instead of like this, if he wants to see on this particular side, this is also possible simply by bringing this company code into row section. You see, now user can see this 3 company code, 4 company codes information on the top. Sorry, because these are actually there is some data which needs to be shown after H, but because of having this information here, system not able to display. So right click here, delete these rows, and then try to refresh or right click insert. If you click on insert button, automatically your query will be refreshed. You see, this is the amount, and this amount is containing 4 company codes. Okay, so if your user wants to see data in this way, it is easy. Okay. But instead of bringing company code into here, he don't want to keep company code on the key figure section. Okay, I'm removing company code from here to the, again removing from the report layout. On the key figures only itself, he wants to see amount in D001, amount for U001, like that. Then we can go for this RKF concept. I will show you the RKF how to design, then you will get a better understanding. So now to create any restricted key figure in your query, so right click on the key figure section, go for new selection. RKF is nothing but in the locally when you are creating an RKF restricted key figure, you need to create new selection field here. Go to new selection, and if you want to change the description, technical name is not required. I will let you know when we will provide technical name. So come to description field. Now let's say amount for I001. Okay, this is my means in this particular column, whichever key figure I am going to create, in this key figure I wish to show only the amounts which are coming for I001 company code. Okay, in this case what I need to do, I need to provide my RKF description, and then on the left hand side, if you see on the left hand side I have info provider fields. Now go to here, select your key figure. So which key figure you want to show on this particular key figure section? So you want to see amount. So drag and drop amount into the right hand side. So now on the right hand side I can see my amount. Now this amount to be displayed only when my company code. So drag and drop your company code also to the right hand side. Now I want to see this amount only when my company code. So restrict this company code into the value I001 and click on OK. Now what happens, whenever value coming to this amount, it will consider only for the records where company code is I001. So this is like a where condition. So for this amount to display, it must be satisfy this company code filter. So since you are giving this selection, it means you are restricting your amount to specific characteristic value. That's why it is called as restricted key figure. Now click on OK. And then bring this amount to the here. Now click on save. So just I created one RKF, and I will show you how exactly this is looking in your report side. Now go to our analysis for office, take new sheet, and again bring output of our sales example report. Don't give any selection. No. Now you see amount for I001. So wherever I am seeing here 246, this 246 means let me bring company code also into the report layout. So under row section I am bringing my company code. You see, if 246 is there on this column, it means my company code here is I001. So wherever you have I001, there only you are able to see your column information, and wherever it is D01, P001, U01, it is null. It means nothing but 0 is coming. Okay, so you restricted your key figure to show only for the specific selection. So in real time, we will create this kind of key figures, RKFs, with different user requirements. Means on calendar month we will restrict, on company code, on material group, based upon the user requirement. We will define RKFs in the real time environment. So like this I created it for I001, right? So now in the same way, for example, if I want to create it for another company code, I can right click here, go to new selection. For example, this time I will take for U001. I'm changing my description, amount in U001 amount for. So so go to info provider section, group 1, bring your amount. First you need to keep your key figure. So once after you keeping your key figure, now restrict with all the characteristics information. It is not possible to keep more than one key figure here, only always one key figure here. Okay, and then go to company code and then restrict here with you see, because I already used I001 in my earlier section. So on the history part, it is showing this for quick reference. It is showing the existing value, already used value. Go to value section here, select your U001, click on OK, and then you can see that's it. So it is possible to restrict with more characteristics. For example, if you want to restrict again with material, U001 with only M1 material, so then you can restrict with M1 also. Okay, so you can restrict with n number of characteristics here, but only one key figure you must restrict here. So I'm removing material, I don't want at this point of time. So bring your U001 next to I001, click on save button, and then go to your analysis for office. Just reset this query. If you reset this query, then it will give one more time fresh output with the latest changes. You see it is INR dollar. So why, you see on the top column you can see the currency on the top column. Why I am seeing currency on the top column? Because all the key figures values here having same currency, that's why it came on the top, but here it is not coming because of multiple currencies. So now here this M1 is for this particular record, where since I am seeing data, nothing but it is coming from U001 company code. So it's like that. So this is called RKF concept. Now so far we covered the RKF concept, so nothing else much to tell about restricted key figure. But the next point what we are going to discuss is what is the difference between local RKF, global RKF. This is one of the interview question. Okay, so this whatever CKFs we are creating, RKFs we are creating here, when we create them from this key figure structure, then these are called local. It means, what is local means, for example, if you are creating another query on top of this composite provider, so what I can do, so I can create n number of queries on my composite provider. So let me create another query. So go to here, new query. So you give your composite provider name underscore Q002 sales example 2. Click on finish. If I go to filter section and if I go to the here like this, now on the row section I'm going to keep my company code, cal month material, but material on the column section I'm going to give amount. You see now whichever I'm keeping on my column section, I can see those only. Now if I want in this particular query also, if I want a key figure which is restricted to only one particular calendar, one particular company code, again I need to design my query. Okay, I means I need to go here, create selection field, and then select my column and then restrict with all the information. So it is nothing but it is a rework. Whichever I done on this query, again I am doing the same rework on another query also. Okay, so this is called waste of time. Whenever you want to use the reusable, if you want to create a reusable RKF or reusable CKF, then you need to create them on the global part. On the left hand side, on the info provider section, there is a reusable component section is there. When you right click on it, here you can see the reusable components, new RKF, new calculate key figure. Now I am going to new RKF here. Now whenever you are creating a reusable component, then it is mandatory to provide the technical name. When you creating this RKF from the local structure, it is not mandatory for you to provide the technical name. But when you create it from the reusable components, it is mandatory. So in real time, when we create an RKF or CKF, what we do, either we start with RKF underscore, okay, which means this is a restricted key figure you are saying here. So RKF underscore, and then so whenever we creating an RKF, we create either only on one particular key figure. So it is better to give that key figure name here. Okay, for example, I am going to create my RKF underscore 001. RKF underscore 0 amount underscore 001. It means so having serial numbers. If someone currently this particular RKF I am creating with I001 restriction. If you want to create another RKF with U001, what I will do, because I am going to again create RKF on the same key figure, so I will give till this particular point I will give same thing, but after here instead of 001 I will give 002. Okay, so the numbering will change. In the description you can give whatever you want, for example amount for I001. So on the technical name you are not telling anything about which selection you are giving, but on the description you are giving a hint that I am restricting amount for I001 company code. So if someone wants to understand by seeing the technical name, by seeing description name they can understand. Okay, by seeing the technical name they can understand that okay, this RKF was created on top of amount, not on quantity. So they can if they are looking for a quantity RKF, they won't consider this particular RKF. Now click on finish button. Now from here everything is common, so I given my technical name, description. Now go to the selection. So in the selection I need to bring amount, and then I need to restrict this amount with the company code. Since I am creating this RKF for I001, go to company code, restrict, select I001, click on OK. So on the selection tab, you are providing your company restriction information. On the general tab, you have the RKF technical name and the description of it. And if you want to handle decimal places or something, I will tell you what is scaling factor and all. Those we do on the general tab. On the selection tab, you will let them know on which selections you want to provide on your RKF. Now click on, after giving everything, you need to click on save button. You see now under reusable components, now I can see one RKF folder. Under that I can see my RKF. Now if I see this RKF, I can tell that okay, this is an RKF, and then it is created on amount column, and then it is for the I001 company code restriction. Okay, similarly quickly I will create one more RKF. Okay, so RKF underscore amount underscore 002 amount for U001, finish, and then go to selection, bring amount column here, and then company column here, and then restrict the company code. Sorry, restrict the company code with U001 company code. It is possible to provide multiple company codes also. It is it is not only required to select one. If I want to give multiple company codes also, I can use it. It is possible. But at this point of time, for our example, I don't need multiple. That's why I'm giving one. Okay, I'm clicking on save button. So now what happened? Two RKFs got created. Both are reusable. If these are reusable, then what happened? You see now if you go to your second query, which is newly created query, let me just click on save button and then close this one and close this one. Now what I will do is I will try to create a new query now on this particular one. I'm going to query, new query, copy it, underscore Q003. Saves example 3. Finish. In info provider section, I can see I can see on the I am in Q003 query on the info provider section. I can see the reusable components under restricted key figure folder. You see these are there. Now if I go to sheet definition and I can bring amount into key figures. It is not required to bring amount also. I can directly bring my reusable component. So instead of again designing it locally in any query, now I can reuse it. Okay, so no need to redesign everything from the scratch. Okay, by creating selection, it will make your development little bit easy. So now next very important point to be considered here. So when you are designing this query, user come up with a requirement. So you have a new query requirement. Okay, so now important point to understand here. Now you want your user given a requirement. So I want a column on amount. On amount with company code restriction as U001. Okay, and restrict this company key figure with the material M1. Okay, so this is your user requirement. Now you started creating your query and you see, okay, yeah, there is a key fee RKF, global RKF with which company code user asked here. So user asked for U001. Oh, very good. There is a already RKF is there with the U001. You drag and drop here. So after that, what you do is you can see below the definition of this RKF. On the below, you can see, okay, this is RKF amount. Oh, sorry, not this definition. You double click on it. Maybe you can go to definition of this one. Not here. Sorry. Right click on it. Open editor. Then RKF definition will be opened. Now you see here, when you see company code is fine. 1 second. Is it U001 or I001? U001. Sorry, not this one. Let remove this one. Right click, remove, bring U001 into your structure. Now go to open editor just to check the definition of this RKF, and you found that okay, only company code was restricted. So but my requirement is with the material. So let's add material here. If you do in this way, then it is very wrong. Okay, if you see an RKF and this particular RKF is not satisfying your requirement, you are not supposed to change your RKF immediately. Okay, because it's a global one. So this particular RKF may be used in other reports also. If you change this RKF definition, this will be impacted in all other queries also. In wherever we are using this RKF in other queries, there also it was restricted with M1. Maybe in other queries, maybe it is not their requirement to restrict this particular RKF with M1 material. Okay, so that's why. So whenever you found in RKF, it is exactly meeting your requirement with all the selections, then reuse it. But if it is not satisfying your requirement, partially satisfying, then create a new RKF or create a new local key figure. But don't change the RKF until unless this change is okay to do in all the queries, then fine. But if it is only specific to your query, then it is not suggestible to change here. It is not correct to change in the RKF definition. Okay, so in that case you need to create another RKF with the amount underscore 003 with the proper description here. Okay, so that is the very important. The RKF same thing, even CKF also follows same concept. Okay, so if I right click here and go to new calculate key figure and provide, for example, CKF underscore, if you are creating on when coming to CKF, so we are not restricted with one key figure. We are using multiple we can use multiple key figures in our CKF. So in this case we never use technical name of the info object here. Okay, so we will go along with the calculation, the output column. So for example, if I am try to calculate net amount, so I will give CKF underscore net amount underscore 001. Then I will give my description as net amount. Now click on finish button. Now if I go to formula section, on the formula section, this is my formula bar amount. What always when coming to this CKF section, you see on the below, say here is the key figures. You are saying key figures, not the structure. Okay, so when you are creating a global CKF, you can find here all your key figures information. Okay, whichever key figures are there in your composite provider, all will be available here. So you can use amount into quantity. So what will happen, amount into quantity, but you know, right, since we have multiple quantities here, so now what will happen, quantity we should suppress the unit. Yesterday we seen, right, or else we will get some wrong output at the end. So what you need to do, you need to use this no dimension function for your quantity field here. Sorry. And so click on OK. Where is no OK, sorry, click on save button. So your global CKF, you see one folder was created here. Under this you can see your CKF information. Now you can use this CKF in your query. So now you can use this CKF in any query, but don't change it as per the query requirement. It must be changed only if it is okay to change in all the queries. So save it now. So when you click on this CKF, here you can see the CKF only, but if you want to see definition, you need to come here, or you need to right click on it, go to open editor, then only you can see the definition of your CKF. Okay, if the user requirement, for currently this particular key figure shows decimal places, there is no information on number of decimal places. Okay, so you are giving 2 decimal places. Later user said no, I want 3. Then don't come and change the global one. If it is okay for all the reports, same thing, then only change even the here also. Any property of your global CKF or global RKF are not supposed to change until unless user said it is okay to affect on all queries. Okay, that is the only important point. We should be more cautious when working on the RKF and CKF. So if this restricted key figure and calculated key figure is created as a reusable component, then we call them as a global RKF CKF. If those are created on the local structure of your key figure structure, then these can be called as local RKF and CKF. So this is an interview question, so keep this in mind. So I'm stopping my record because as it's the end of this RKF CKF concept, so I'm stopping my recording. 1 second.